the FlexJobs subscription webinar. We're going to go through how to be a top-notch job seeker and give you some secrets to FlexJobs membership success. My name is Jess Vivian Larson, and again, I am the manager of client services, and today our presenters are going to be Nick Knock, who's in client services and support, and Karen Markey, who's also in client services and support. We're going to go over our advanced search option and how to set up a resume profile and why that matters, and kind of some great tips on how to do that. So welcome again to FlexJobs. If you have questions, please feel free to ask your questions in the questions box on the GoToWebinar control panel. You may need to hit the orange arrow to expand the control panel and see the questions area. And we're going to have about 40 to 45 minutes of presentation with some time for those questions at the end of the presentation. So we also have that handout if you would like to expand and see that as well. So I'm going to go ahead and pass this over to Nick, who's going to go through how to use the advanced search option.
All right, thank you, Jess. And again, thank you everybody for attending. My name is Nick and I work in client services. So Jess, if you could take us over to the live site, we'll get right into it and talk about the advanced search option. So when you log into your account, you can actually get to the advanced job search in a couple different ways. So you'll see it along the upper sub-navigation bar right at the top of your screen. And you can also find it on the right panel of most screens, right under the Search for Jobs field. So since we're already here, we'll get right into it. So the Advanced Job Search is a great tool where you can run as broad or as narrow of a search as you would like. So you can also save your searches, which makes it really easy to access them at a later time, and we'll get to that in a minute. But first, we're going to talk about the fields on the screen. And before we start, it's worth noting that with the advanced job search, more is not always better. So not every field is required for a search, and in fact, you can really only just use one if that's all you need for a search. So if you've used this before and you found your results were really limiting, try using less fields to increase your results. So we'll get right into it. The first field we have on the screen is the keywords field, and this can make your search really specific if you know that you want to work in a certain position or use a certain skill. So again, using this is completely optional. It's totally up to you. So as an example in keywords, we'll have Jess enter analyst as a keyword, which will then search for that word in both the job titles and the job description. And yeah, you can see the results on this page. So one thing to note here is that this returns the exact word results. So Jess, if you take us back to the advanced job search, we'll search for the word writing and then perform that search. And you'll see a little over 5,000 results. And if you go back and use the word writer instead, you'll see that there's a really big difference by about 4,000. So it's really important to play around with this field because it can be really limiting depending on what your specific search may be. So if we go back, perfect. In the keyword field, quotation marks are a really powerful thing if you're using more than one word. For example, if you search medical writer without quotes, you'll see that it's searched for both of those words throughout the title and the job description, regardless of the order of the words. So if you go back and you put medical writer in quotes, or if you select that little box that says exact phrase, it will do exactly that. And the results will be much more limiting, and they'll be in the order that you've typed them in. So if we go back to the advanced job search, one fun tip here is that if you're searching for a specific job title, you can use the keyword field. And you can do that by entering the word title in lowercase letters. Make sure it's lowercase. If you put it in uppercase, then you won't get any results. Followed by a colon, followed by a position title. So we can do writer again. And then the search will return results that only include that word or phrase in the title only and not in the job description. So that can make a big difference. And this is really useful if you know exactly what kind of job titles you're looking for. All right, so we'll go back. And now we'll talk about the exclude words field. So Jess, I'll have you jump down to categories and select HR and recruiting real quick. And then we'll go back up to exclude words. So if you know that you want to work in HR and recruiting as the category, but you don't want to conduct interviews, here you can type in quotes, conduct interviews. And when you run that search, you'll see all the HR and recruiting jobs that don't have conduct interviews in the description or the title. So you can go back and see what the difference is in HR and recruiting when you remove that. And you'll see it makes a slight difference, especially with interviews in HR. But if you know that you specifically don't want to have to do certain tasks or utilize a certain skill, then that can be a really useful tool. So back on the advanced job search, we'll go to the next field, which is the U.S. location. And here you can enter a city and state, or more specifically just a zip code, or even just a state if you want broader results. And it is really important to use this field even if you're looking for 100% telecommuting jobs, because some employers have certain location requirements for tax or licensing reasons. So I always recommend putting in your location even if you're looking to work from home. So Jess, if you could type in Charlotte, North Carolina, and then just run that search, or Charlotte. Apparently that's a city too. Awesome. Nice. Perfect. Thank you. So without entering anything as a telecommuting level and just putting the city, you'll see jobs that are both within 30 miles of Charlotte, as well as jobs that can be done from anywhere in the U.S. or anywhere in the world. So if you put in the U.S. location but don't select your telecommuting level, then you'll see a combination of local results and national or international availability. So while we're on the results, if you see jobs that have the name of a city and a red pointer and no other icons, then that is a job that has to be done from the city's area. If you see a position that has the American flag, then that job can be done from anywhere in the U.S. Now, if it has a flag that looks like a little world map, it can be done from anywhere in the world. So you'll see some jobs that have a city name, but also have a U.S. flag. And this means that the employer might prefer a local candidate, but they're also open to remote candidates. Yeah, just like that one. Awesome. So you can always hover over the icons to find out what they mean, as Jeff has been doing. There's also a handy little eye at the top next to job listing that will explain most of the icons. Awesome, thank you. So we'll go back to the advanced job search. And the next field we have is the international field. So if you live in the U.S. or you plan on staying in the U.S., then you can totally leave this field blank. Just don't even worry about it. But if you live outside of the U.S. or you plan on moving outside of the U.S., you'll want to either select your country from the list, because there may be some options that are specific to that country, or you can select anywhere if you want to see jobs that can be done from anywhere in the world. Perfect. Thank you. So the next field we have is job type, where you'll see if you click on the box, you have several options. So first you have employee, which is pretty self-explanatory. That's usually where you're employed by the company and they take care of taxes for you. Freelance is where you're usually considered a contractor or it's a 1099 position. And then temporary, otherwise internship. So you'll notice here, as Jeff is doing, that you can select multiple options so as to include multiple types of job. So if you select a type and then decide that you want to remove it, you just click on the X once you've put it in the field. And the same goes for any field with multiple options. All right, so the next field we have is the work schedule, which also has quite a few options. And again, you can select multiple options to get broader results if you're considering different schedules. So we can briefly run through what they all mean. Full-time is typically 40 hours a week, with part-time being anything less than that. Flexible means that you typically have the ability to set your own hours. Alternative schedules would include jobs that have nights and weekend hours and would also include graveyard shifts. And occasional is exactly as it sounds, so it most likely won't be very steady work. And then seasonal is a popular category, usually in the summertime or around the holidays. And then long-term and short-term are pretty self-explanatory. The definition of short-term and long-term can change a bit depending on the company, but it's typically short-term is 3 to 6 months, with long-term being anything longer. All right, so we'll go on to categories. So here you can select as many categories as you want. If you want to check to see if a category is listed, then you can actually start typing whatever that word may be in the box, and you'll see the drop-down menu start to narrow down the selection. For example, if you start to type in advertising and PR, you'll see it come up in the drop-down menu, and then you can just scroll down and click it. Otherwise, if you just click the box, you'll see the drop-down menu, and from here you can just browse and select from there. So while we have the drop-down menu up, you'll see that you have main categories as well as subcategories, which you'll see indented below the main category. So if you see a subcategory that you're interested in under a main category, be sure to select both here. For example, under science, make sure you also select the subcategories if you're interested in both fields. Because selecting just science or just chemistry may not include results from the other category, even if it appears to be a main category. So you can also just leave the category field completely blank if you want to start with a really broad search. So Jess, if you could just put in Charlotte, North Carolina again in the location, and then run a search, we'll see how you can narrow down the categories in a different way on the next page. All right, so if you look along the right-hand side of the results page, you'll see that you have the job categories, the schedule, job type, and actually most of the fields from the advanced job search. So if you want to start with kind of a broad search and then narrow it down at this point, this is the best way to do it. So, you know, for example, if you look under schedule and you know you want to work full-time, then you can select that, and you'll see the results change to full-time positions. And then you can also do the same for the other criteria that fall on the side of this page. And if you kind of select something like full-time and then browse and decide you want to open it up a little more, or go back to the original options, just uncheck the box and it'll bring you back to the original, more broader search. All right, so we'll go back to the advanced job search. And then head over to the telecommuting level would be the next field. So a lot of people come to FlexJobs looking for strictly work-from-home jobs. And if that's what you're looking for, then be sure to select 100% telecommute, which means 100% from home position. And again, even if this is your preference, make sure that you enter the location as well. So the option above 100%, the any option, will include every option, and you'll likely see more positions that are specific to your area, since they may not be 100% from home. So this is another field where you can include as many options as you want to, or if it's something that is not important to you, then you can just leave it completely blank. So we'll head on over to career level. And here, you can select anything from entry level all the way up to senior level manager. So entry level positions require very little or sometimes even no experience in a certain field. Experienced means that you've got a couple years experience in the industry. Manager positions usually require some sort of supervisory experience, with senior level usually requiring several years in a management role. So if you use this and you try searching within just one field, if you find that you're not getting a lot of results in the career level that you've selected, try including more levels in your search just to broaden it up a little bit, because sometimes they may be classified slightly differently than exactly what you're looking for. So like most other fields, you can select as many options as you want to. All right, so the next field we'll go over to is the travel option. And here you'll see yes, no, and maybe. So if you know that you definitely don't want to travel, then make sure that you select no. If you want to see all travel options, then this is one that you can totally just leave blank, and it'll present a really broad search. All right, so our last field on here is the featured and award-winning employers. For example, if you know that you only want to work for a Fortune 500 company, you can scroll down and select that from the list, and then the results will only include those companies that are Fortune 500. So you'll see that we currently have over 5,000 Fortune 500 positions. And if, awesome, Jess is hovering over the icons, you can see all of these little award and accolade icons, and if you hover over the icon, if I can get my words out, then you can see exactly what that icon means. All right, perfect. So now we'll go back to the advanced job search. And we'll go over a few tips on using this tool. So if you need a little more clarification on each field, you can always click the tip icon above the field, and that'll give you a brief reminder on how to use it. So if you've been using the advanced job search and you're finding that the results are too narrow, then we recommend starting with only 3 fields. And those would be your U.S. location, if you're in the U.S., or your country, if you're outside of the U.S., and then selecting the job categories that you're interested in, as many as you like again, and your desired telecommuting level. So this can give you a broad range of results depending on how many categories you include. And again, you can narrow it down on the results page. Excuse me. So keywords can be great, but if you're entering too many keywords, then that can definitely limit the results. So sometimes it's best just to leave it blank. So since we're on this page, we'll talk about saving a search. So if you go back up to the top of the results, you'll see this orange button that says Save the Search, and then you'll see a field open where you can actually name the search, and then hit Save, and you'll see that the search has been saved. So once you've done this, in order to find your saved searches, you have a couple of options. So if you go up to Job Search Activity, you'll see this menu open, and you'll find your saved searches there. Perfect. And then you can also find your saved searches by going to my dashboard and scrolling down to Job Search Activity, and then selecting the Save Searches tab. And then from here, if you go down a little bit and open the All Saved Searches, that'll show you all the searches that you've saved if you've saved multiple. So on this page, you can actually edit this a little bit. So you actually can edit the name of your saved searches if you want to make it more specific, or if you want to change something about if it's easier for you to remember by giving it a new name. And awesome. Then you just hit the save icon. You can also rearrange the order of the saved searches for priority by holding the tab and just moving it up and down. And then if you don't want a certain saved search anymore, you can easily just erase it by clicking the red X, and that'll remove it from your list. All right, so that should cover the advanced search tool. Was there anything else that you want me to talk about, Jess?
Yeah, let's look at, or if you could just speak to what these 2 icons mean right here on the side of the job.
Perfect. Yeah, so in addition to saving a search, you can also save a job for later. So if you want to save a job, you'll see this cute little heart icon, and you click on that, and you'll know it's saved when it goes from gray to blue. And then you can also make a note on a saved job by clicking on that little icon, writing a note, and then saving the note once you've reminded yourself whatever it is you want to see about that job next time you look at it. Perfect. And then you can access your saved jobs in the same way that you get to your saved searches by going up to job search activity or from my dashboard and then going to saved jobs. And you'll see that it has been added to this list. And you can also see that you have a note on here. You open that to check out what the note is if you want to remind yourself what it is or even edit the note for a later time.
Perfect. Thank you very, very much. All right. Well, let's hand this over to Karen, who's going to go over setting up the resume profile.
Thanks, Jess, and thanks, Nick. That was a great overview of the advanced search. So now we're going to talk about another important part of using your FlexJobs account, and that's setting up your resume profile. Jess, I think we're going to start off back on the PowerPoint presentation before we actually get into the live site, just to go over a few things, some purposes of your resume profile. So when you're setting up your resume profile, it's going to help automate your job search, so our system will run a broad search based on the information that you've entered to send you jobs that might be a good fit for you. It's going to alert you of new jobs which match your career interests based on your job categories that you're putting in your profile. Another thing that you can do with your resume profile is apply for some positions through our site using that resume profile. So you want to make sure you have your resume or your resume information filled out in there. And like it says on the bottom, if you don't currently have a resume to upload to our site, we have a tool where you can actually create a resume that you can use for our site and other employer sites when you're applying on their website. All right, just the next slide. And there's two types of employers that we have on our site. The first is the featured employers. Those are companies that come to our site directly. They do have an approved account by us. They're screened. We've researched them for legitimacy. They can post their jobs directly to our site. They can also search through our members' profiles and reach out to them and contact them if they're interested. You will see the FJ logo. You'll see in the upper right there that will identify a featured employer. You'll also see the job titles are in orange. The application link will be a little bit different. It'll be in that rectangular blue box, and it'll say apply for this job. The second type of employer, external employers. These are companies that our job researchers have found through outside websites. We have also screened them and verified for legitimacy. They do not post their jobs directly to our site, and they cannot browse through our members' current profiles. The application box is going to look a little bit different. It's going to say to apply or learn more, go to original job post. And their job titles, you'll see as well, are in blue rather than orange. So, okay. Now we can go to the live site, Jess. And we're actually going to create a profile, so we'll take you through step by step. This, again, is your My Dashboard page. You can scroll down on this page to see any current profiles you have. You'll see there's 3 different profiles set up here. You will see profile statuses for each. The first one is inactive. That is based on your privacy status. Active is also, it means you've got everything filled out and employers can search for you. You will also sometimes see incomplete. So if you haven't filled out the necessary fields within the profile to make it active, if you see that incomplete, it's just going to alert you that something still needs to be completed. So what we'll do, we'll go ahead and create a new profile, Jess, and we'll walk through each field. It is going to ask if you're sure if you want to create a new one. So you want to select yes. Now the first thing to note as you're creating your profile is this light blue box at the top. So you'll see it says in order to activate your profile, the following fields are required at a minimum. So these are the fields that have to be filled out in order to activate your profile. And as we go through each box, you'll see that like once we fill out the profile title, you'll see this profile title, it'll be removed from that blue box. So As you're moving through, when that blue box is gone, you'll know your profile has been completed with all the necessary fields. So the first box that we'll start off with is the profile title. It is important to title your profile. We highly recommend that you take a moment to put some thought into it because it's really going to be the first thing that an employer is going to see. You don't want to put any personal identifiers like your name or anything within the profile. It's just going to be to help you stand out. Like Jess is writing, experienced writer with 12 years experience. So it's going to be catchy. It's going to include your most marketable skills and strengths. And if you don't know exactly what type of job you want, you can keep your title more general and flexible. An example of that would be flexible professional, open to new opportunities. And as we're working through here, you'll also see, like as Nick pointed out in the advanced search, there's little tip boxes in the upper right of each area. So if you click on that tip box, if you need a refresher or you want some additional tips, you can always click on there. And it's important with each box that you save the information. So as we move to the next box, that's going to be your contact information. So you want confirmation that you're comfortable in your prospective employer seeing. Just some tips on that. Emails, you do want to make sure that you have a professional email. Again, you know, employers are going to be seeing that. They're going to be contacting you that way. If you have a website, you can enter in that field your online portfolio, your LinkedIn page, any career-related blog, anything you have, you can put in there. And of course, your city and state. This is important to enter your city and state within the contact information because it's going to help our system search. If you just put USA, then our system is going to be pulling in jobs from all over the country. So you do want to make sure you do have your city and state listed. And then we're going to select Save. On to the picture. The photo in the profile is completely optional. You can put it in there or not if you want. It's good to help make a good first impression. Obviously, you want to enter a professional, friendly picture that an employer, can see of you. But again, that's completely preferential. It shouldn't, disqualify you for a position. It's up to you. So if you don't feel comfortable, you don't have to do that. You can just browse through your system, save the file, and it will upload into your profile. The next area is the profile privacy status area. So these are your three options as far as the privacy that you want on your profile. Active and public, anyone outside of our website can view your information, can search for you. We don't recommend that, but if you want to have that, you can. Active and private, that is viewable only by our approved FlexJobs employers. So they're the only ones who can see you and be able to contact you. Inactive and private, this is if you don't want anyone to see your profile. And we saw on that first page, if you remember, the first profile it just had was inactive. So that was based on this privacy status. And a good thing to note about this is if you run across a company who wants you to apply for their position through our site and send your resume profile, you will need to update this privacy setting to active and private. Again, we would recommend, so it'll be viewable by the employer. After you send your profile with that job application, you can come back and make your profile inactive and private again. All right, and then we'll go ahead and save that. Home office, this is pretty self-explanatory. For jobs that allow you to work from your home office, even occasionally, it's helpful for employers to know what kind of office setup you have. So just really the major office equipment, printer, scanner, copier, shredder, webcam, whatever you feel you like to put in there. And then the next box is military status. You can edit that if you have a specific military affiliation that you'd like to put in there. And then save. And you'll see this tab on the bottom right. Next tab will take you to the next page, My Job Search. You can also access the tabs at the top of the page, right there. Yep, About Me. So either way, you can navigate from the top or the bottom. The next area, the summary of qualifications. This is just a two to three sentence area describing your professional self and why you are a great candidate. Again, just some good points you can put in there about you that will make you stand out, what an employer maybe might catch their eye, and you can save. The next box, your job categories. This is very important because these are the categories that our system is going to be searching on when it's looking for jobs that might be a good fit for you. You want to pick the jobs, of course, of which you're interested in, also maybe qualified for, industries you've worked in before. And if you want to check out some other things that you might want to move into, you can add those as well. For the resume profiles, you can add up to 5 job categories per profile. So you can have multiple profiles. Say you have 10 different categories you want to search for. You could create 2 profiles with 5 job categories each. And if you only want 1 profile, that's fine too. Just remember, if you're not getting the results in maybe the areas or professions that you're really looking for, you can always go in and edit these and update them. Just by clicking the X, we'll remove it. And then we'll save. And then the job details. This is an important box as well. So you're going to go through and select the job types that you're interested in, maybe just employee, freelance. If you know you don't want temporary, volunteer, internships, definitely uncheck those. You want to select the ones that you're really interested in working. And schedules, full-time, part-time, what we went over, same as the advanced search. Your career level, this is important as well. And Nick mentioned this in using the advanced search too. Say you start off and you select a manager level, but you're not finding enough results that our system is finding for you. You can always change that to experienced. There can be manager level jobs in the experienced field. It might not be labeled as a manager because you might not be reporting, or you might not be have employees reporting to you. So you can always change that up. Your education level, you do need to put that within the field. And your desired salary and pay, this is a completely optional field. You don't want to put it so high that you kind of, that an employer is going to overlook you, and you don't want to put it so low that you're not really looking for jobs that will really compensate you for what you should be getting. So some people choose to leave that blank. If you want to put the pay in there, that is fine. Totally up to you. And other compensation and benefits, maybe if you want health insurance, gym membership, any other benefits you'd like to see, you can always add that in there. And then we'll click Save. Job flexibility preferences. So again, you only want to list the types of flexibility you're interested in. So maybe you just want a part-time and no freelancing because you know you want to be working as an employee. So we have telecommuting selected. In this drop-down box, you want to select the level that you're looking for, as well as if you're willing to travel or not. And we'll click Save. Your availability and schedule. These questions are to give potential employers an idea of your availability. The broader options you pick, the wider range of job opportunities will be matched with your profile. And again, an important thing to remember is you can always update these fields. You can always come back and update them for different results for your new jobs of interest. Those are the jobs that our system is going to assign to you to take a look at. Now we'll move to the next tab, which is the Upload Resume tab. This area is for our members who do have a current resume to upload. You want to use a file type that's universal, such as a .doc, a .text, and a .pdf. It's not recommended to use a .docx or a .wps, as some employers wouldn't have the software that supports those files. So you want to make them the universal. So you'll search your computer, and when you find the file to add, you'll save. You'll know that your resume has been uploaded when you see your file name listed there. All right, now onto the work samples. For the work samples, you want to choose the ones that you feel strongly show your personal qualifications and that help sell you as a candidate. It's not recommended to upload more than 5. The work sample area is really just to give you to give employers an idea of what you do, not to be your complete online portfolio. So again, you'll just search add and you'll see your file name there. All right. Now our next tab, the Build Resume tab, this area is for our members who don't currently have a resume and would like to build one. So we'll just kind of briefly go through each field. Your work experience, you can put them in any order because you do have the capability to sort as you know, you saw in the saved searches, you could sort. You can do the same thing with your work experience. And put the relevant dates in and save. And we'll just add another one just so you guys can see how easy it is to sort once you have the information in. And you always, it goes without saying, you do want to be accurate with your work experience that you're putting in. It's best to include only the work experiences that are relative to the type of work you're interested in doing or that highlight your transferable skills. And we really recommend the last 10 to 15 years of experience. All right, so you can see on the left here, you can sort by clicking and dragging up and down to sort. All right, the next box is the education box. All right, so this is pretty self-explanatory. If you were in college or a recent college graduate, it may be appropriate to put in your high school experience education here as well, but most people will just have their college. You do need to, this does require dates. The system does require you to do that because we find that employers do want to know what those dates are. So sometimes we get questions if you actually have to put the actual dates in there, but yes, it is a required field. All right. So there, in every field you can sort, so you can sort those as well. So on to the skills area. In the skills, you can include your relevant marketable skills. Employers typically prefer a candidate who already has the skills to step into a position with minimal training over one who does not. So it's worth taking a few minutes to really include any skills that speak to your value. As a worthwhile qualified candidate, you could put in Excel. You can enter things like computer skills, program skills. Like if you have Ruby on Rails or any computer skills like that, as well as specific business skills. You may have sales training, public speaking, and you can save as many in here as you would like. And you can also put skills specific to your industry. If you know, an industry is that your industry has a specific skill that is highly valued, you can enter that. You can also enter soft skills, maybe like communication, multitasking, problem solving, time management, those type of soft skills that can be used across different industries. Languages, of course, you want to put in any languages you may be bilingual in or multilingual. It can be appealing to employers, so it's smart to mention all languages that you would be comfortable in using in a professional capacity. If you just, if it's just a basic knowledge, you can enter that, but it's really, if it's something you're proficient in, you want to add that as well. Certificates and memberships. Anything if your industry, you require certain continuing education or specific certifications, you can enter those in there, as well as awards and honors. That's just, these are all little things that can really help you stand out. All right. Next tab, the My PDF tab. This is for the customers who have used that Build Resume tab. So you can download your PDF resume copy. You can use that when you're applying on employers' websites directly. Most employers will direct you to their website to fill out their applications. So you can use your PDF here that you've created. You can save a copy onto your system and use that when applying for positions. Now again, if you've uploaded your resume, that PDF is not going to be relevant to you because you would just be taking your resume document and uploading that directly to the employer site. And another thing you can do is view my profile in the upper right. This is going to show you what an employer on our site, the hosted employers, how they would see your profile. So you see a nice layout. If you scroll down to the bottom of the page, you'll also see where your attachments are. So you see the resume and the work sample. So an employer would just click on those links to bring up your information. And if you scroll up just a little bit, Jess, your profile, you will see you'll also have your skills tests that you have taken. We have numerous skills tests that can highlight your current skills. So you can take those. Any score you receive, a 70% or above, will reflect on your resume profile. So our employers will see that in that area as well. Now if we go back to the My Dashboard page, Jess, and if we scroll to the bottom of this page, you will see the new profile that we just created. It's got today's date, it shows our job categories, and it shows active. And there's a couple ways that you can access the resume profile. You can do that from the My Dashboard page. You can scroll to the bottom, as well as on the top, the navigation bars on the top where it says your resume profiles. You can select the one that you're interested in going into. And as well, if we could scroll to the bottom of the page again, Jess, I forgot to mention, if you have created more than one profile, there we go, back to My Dashboard and scroll to the bottom. If you've created more than one profile and you maybe want to delete one of them, or you've created a profile in error, each profile has these blue links, so you could select the delete. If you wanted to delete it, you could, well, you can view, edit, download PDF, or delete. So that's how you can remove it if you decide that, oops, I created that in error, or I no longer wish to have it, and that will update there. While we're on this page, let's look at some skills tests, Jess, and we can go, I want to show everyone as well, that can be accessed by the bar on the top. If you click on skills tests, and then if you go to your test results, sometimes we get questions on, even if someone gets a 70% or above, they may want to remove a skills test, and this is the page where you can do that. You would simply click on that red X. But again, an employer is only going to see tests that are 70% and above. So say on that first test you took, the English speaking test, if you got a 42, you can always leave that test within your test results here just for future reference. As you go back and take it, maybe you want to compare your second test with that. So that's completely fine to leave that there if you want, but you can also delete them as well. All right, and if we go back to the live, or excuse me, back to the PowerPoint, Jess. We'll kind of wrap up the profile here and let you guys ask some questions. So again, you can create more than one profile if you're interested in marketing and then you're interested in writing. You could do 2 separate profiles. You want to use clear, precise, and catchy titles for your profile. You want to fill out as much information as possible. Again, there's basic fields that need to be filled out that you'll see in that light blue box, but we really recommend completing the whole profile, setting your privacy status. One of the most important areas of that profile is the job categories that you want our system to search for you. There is, if you want to have a video to review as well on the profile, we have that as well. It's within your resume profile. Jess, if we can go back, sorry, to the live site one more time, I'll show you guys where that video is that you can reference. So you just want to go into one of your profiles and you'll select edit. The video option is on the upper right here where it says help on creating a profile. So watch this video. You can walk through setting up the profile again. It's a great resource and great tips there for you. So I think that's it for me on my end, so I'm going to pass it over to Jess.
Thank you so much, Karen. That was great. So I just want to touch on a couple membership features that are also part of the FlexJobs membership. So I'm going to go over these really quickly here. The referrals, you can earn a free month of subscription by sharing your unique link with your friends and family who are interested in flexible work opportunities. And if they sign up with FlexJobs, you do get that free month. And I'll show you where that is on the live site in just a moment. And we also have special partner offers, which are discounts and savings on services and products that support flexible job searching, a better work-life balance, or other related lifestyle benefits. So you can see some of the different job categories that are also included in that, those special partner offers. So I'll show you where those are located really quickly. So again, you've got your referral over here, the refer a friend. All you have to do is click that, and it'll pull up where you can put in either email, Facebook, or Twitter to send along to anyone you think might benefit from having a FlexJobs subscription. And then the special partners offers are up in the sub-navigation as well. And you can look through. We have things like companies like Resume Deli that can do resume review and cover letter assistance, things like that, as well as anything for your home office or co-working space. There's a lot of different options. So definitely take a look at that, and that will help maybe defer some costs in setting up a home office or running your new telecommuting position. So I am going to go and get some of these questions answered here real quickly. So one of the questions that we have is there a benefit to having multiple profiles, and can the employer see if you have multiple profiles? So Karen, do you want to answer that?
Yes. The benefit to multiple profiles would be your new jobs of interest. And if you scroll down on this page just a little bit, Jess, you'll see the box that says new jobs of interest, and there's a little 50 there. Oh, if you click on the arrow, and then you go to all new jobs of interest. So these are the jobs that our system has identified as a possible fit for you. It will run it on all of your profiles. So you will receive more new jobs of interest. So that's a good thing. And just if you're in different industries, and if you're looking for different industries, that would be a good idea. Employers on our site will search by job category. So if we have a company who's hiring for a part-time bookkeeping position, they'll search on job categories. So if you have bookkeeping in your profile will list for them so they can view that and they can contact you that way. So that would be the benefit, and that's how employers on our site search for the job candidates.
So if you have 2 different resume profiles and they have 5 different job categories, the employers will only see the profile relevant to the categories they're searching for. So if you had a writing profile and a sales profile and they're looking for a writer, they would not pull up your sales profile. They can't see that you have multiple profiles. It'll only pull the job categories for that profile. So perfect. So we have another question here. Does the exclude words field only work for the job title? Nick, do you want to handle that one?
Sure. So the exclude words field actually works for the title and within the job description itself.
Perfect. All right. So yeah, you can use that for a bunch of different fields, so that's a good thing to know. And then we have a question, is there a way to be notified when a job is posted? And I can answer that one really quickly. So the best bet you're going to have to see if a new job is posted that is in your interest, in your areas of interest, is to have that job category selected in your profile so that your new jobs of interest would have it. Another thing that we always recommend as well is having those saved searches that you can check regularly. So you can just log in, and every time you run any of these searches, it's going to give you a fresh job search. So it will tell you, as of today, what is available with that criteria. So both the new jobs of interest that are sent to our paid members as well as the saved searches are really the best way to get that really, holistic idea of what's going to be coming available and what's new on the site. We are looking, I know there's been a lot of requests from people on making it so that saved searches are also sent in the new jobs of interest, and so that is something that we are aware and looking to add into the new jobs of interest email. We've got another question here. What formats of uploaded resumes work best? Karen, do you want to answer that real quick?
Yeah, that would be a .doc or a .pdf are really the best ones to upload because they're universal and all employers can see those.
Sure, perfect. So we have a couple of questions about the required dates of graduation on the education area. So I want to address those really quickly. It is required on our site to add dates of graduation. If you are not comfortable putting that information, you don't have to build your resume with FlexJobs. Or you can just not include that field. So you have a lot of options. If you want to include that field, it does have the date requirement at this time. But if you aren't comfortable or are concerned about age discrimination, you can definitely attach a resume and put in your information, any way that you would like to. There's a lot of different debate on whether or not having the dates adds to more discrimination or leaving them off adds to more discrimination. Lots of different schools of thought on that. So it is totally up to you as a member to make a decision as to what you're most comfortable with and what would make the most sense for you in your job search. So I just wanted to let you guys know that too. Let's see here. We've got time for a couple more questions. So let's see here. Sorry about that. Is there an advantage to having an uploaded resume versus building a resume on the site? Karen, do you want to grab that one?
No, that's just completely preferential. Most people already have a document to upload, so that works. We just provide the build resume for those people who don't, who want the format, a nice format and a nice document. So it's completely preferential. There's no advantage one over the other.
Perfect. Absolutely. And let's see here. Pardon me. I'm looking through these real quick. So with the privacy settings, what would be the privacy setting that would make it so that external employers who are not associated with FlexJobs could view a resume?
If you set your profile or your privacy status at public, anybody who ran a search for you on a public website, like Google, they did a Google search for you, they could conceivably find your profile that way. The external employers cannot search for our current members, so they wouldn't be able to find you here on our site, but Active in Public would make your information searchable, by any employer.
Perfect.
Or person, not even necessarily an employer. Anyone who is searching for you would see that.
Perfect. Okay. So we've got a couple questions on skills tests. I'm going to answer those really quickly. What skills test should I take? Totally up to you. Again, you have absolute control over what is displayed on your profile and what is not. The employers cannot see if you've attempted a test. They cannot see if you've taken a test and deleted it. They can't see any information that you don't allow to be on your profile. So if you, are curious and think that maybe a job, a specific test might give you some, information that would be helpful to you, it's something you think that you would be good with, feel free to take it. It's pretty risk-free. Again, if you take it and find that it's not a good fit for what you're trying to say, or if you didn't score as high as you wanted to, all you need to do is go to your test results and delete it. If you take a test every 24 hours, you will only show the highest score of that test. So if I were to retake this test, for example, and get a 65, that would not show on my profile. The only thing that would show would be the highest test score. So just to let everybody know, that's, it's something that we want to be an asset to our job seekers, not a detriment. So we've got about a minute left, so I want to just go through a couple things real quickly. This will be available to view on the FlexJobs blog. We have recorded it, so if you want to watch it in the future, you definitely can. You would just go to the tips and tricks area, and then all of our previous webinars and future webinars are posted here. So we will send out a link for the recorded version of this to everybody tomorrow. Additionally, if you did not have a question answered that you would like to have us answer, or if there's something specific that you would like us to answer, you are welcome to use the contact information. You're welcome to contact us by phone, by chat. Our support will be back on as soon as we're done with the webinar, or by email, and we're happy to help and move forward with any specific questions. We also have some helpful articles listed here on how to manage your FlexJobs account, again with the searching, or anything else that might be relevant for you as a job seeker. Thank you guys so much for taking the time to visit with us, and I want to thank Nick and Karen for presenting and going through those very helpful hints on how to use the site itself. You can always go to flexjobs.com for more information, and thank you again for attending. We wish you all the best of luck in your job searches and careers.